sight, have low vision, or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Around Our Area continues now on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Your reader for this hour is Sally Herzog. Now we go to our first paper, the Southtowns Bee, and this is the West Seneca, Orchard Park, and East Aurora's newspapers. This is the Thursday, March 26, 2026 edition. Go to our first article. Another public hearing scheduled for clocks. This is by Eric Kepler. When the rezoning request from Clocks Grove owner Diana Harvick appeared on the agenda for Monday night's West Seneca Town Board meeting, the public and the TV cameras turned out to see what would happen next in what has become a contentious issue. The Town Board has already tabled the request twice to allow the applicant time to address the concerns of neighbors who have been uniform in their opposition of the project. But instead of rendering a decision, the agenda item was solely for the purpose of scheduling another public hearing, per Town Attorney Chris Trapp. We've already had a public hearing that was held over 2 days. Why do you want us to have another one? West Seneca Supervisor Gary Dixon asked. Trapp said that the reason for the additional public hearing is to make it clear that we haven't set out the local law because there were changes subsequently from Clocks in terms of the size of the property that we were looking for in terms of where the zoning change would be. The public hearing was then scheduled for April 27th. Clocks, a 16.3-acre wedding and event venue located at 1245 Seneca Creek Road that originally opened in 1955, was acquired by Harvick from the Clark family in October of 2022 for $2.5 million. The modified rezoning request for the property at 1245 Seneca Creek Road would allow for the construction of boutique motel buildings on the site. The zoning would remain unchanged for 300 feet along the entire width of the property as measured from Seneca Creek Road. The $4 million expansion would see the creation of one-story hotel buildings with the potential to add 3 more in 2 to 3 years. Harvick, who is not present at Monday's meeting, has said the expansion project is vital to the long-term growth of the business. We really need to get behind our business owners in this town, Harvick said at the February 12th Town Board meeting. It's important to support us. This beautiful project is all about the future of Clocks Grove. I made a commitment when I bought it from the Clocks family that I would uphold the beautiful legacy. Neighbors have been almost unanimous in their opposition to the project. This application is an unmistakable case of spot zoning and should never have been repeatedly tabled by the board, said Line Road resident Amanda Petrelli. By any reasonable standard, this should be a straightforward decision. Nearly every resident who would be directly affected has opposed this proposal from the outset. The opposition is well documented. Petrelli cited concerns about declining property values, pedestrian safety, environmental harm, and increased strain on already overburdened county infrastructures, among others. Cedar Ridge Drive, James Raymond warned that the town could face legal challenges in ignoring its comprehensive plan by supporting hotel use for the benefit of a single property. You have a choice and an exit ramp, Raymond said. You can decide not to take up this law change and bring this process to an end, and because no amount of public hearings is going to fix what's fundamentally broken here. The issues are clear. The opposition is clear. The legal risks are clear. It's time to move on and decline to consider the Clocks rezoning request. Plenty to give. East Aurora resident honored for volunteer work. This also is by Eric Kepler. Longtime East Aurora resident Kathleen Collins has been nominated for the Governor's Exemplary Volunteer Service Award by the New York State Office for the Aging. Collins, a retired teacher, was nominated by the Seneca Street Community Development Corporation staff on Buffalo's East Side, where she volunteers by tutoring underprivileged children. Miss Kathleen has made a lasting impact on the lives of countless students. Her dedication to serving the children in her community is a testament to her remarkable character. Her unique ability to connect with our students has created a positive and supportive learning environment, resulting in improved grades and a renewed enthusiasm for learning. We are thrilled to recognize Kathleen's tireless efforts and nominate her as New York State Volunteer of the Year, said Seneca Street CDC Youth Programs Director Melanie Yanish. Collins spent 49 years as a teacher in geometry, physics, and AP biology, with stops at St. Francis and Mount Mercy high schools. She retired in 2021 and started volunteering at Seneca Street in 2023. I knew I still had the skills, leadership, and the ability to teach, so I started looking around, Collins said. It made sense to me to go to a community that didn't have as many opportunities. I thought I'd be dealing with high school kids, but I'm working with kids in grades K through 4. I hadn't done that before, and I'm loving it. Collins received her nomination award last week from Erie County Commissioner of Senior Services, Randall Hoke. She's now been invited to attend Older New Yorkers Day on May 26th in Albany, where the Volunteer of the Year Award will be selected from the nominees. The event celebrates healthy aging and the power of community engagement while overcoming stereotypes about aging. When I found this, I had no connection with Erie County at the time, but I could see myself helping out here, Collins said. In high school, it's very much contest-oriented. Once you encourage them, and you can educate them through the play. I'm learning things from them all the time. The job is its own reward, Collins added, because she's not the only one who's learning. The best part are the little successes, Collins said. I was working with one kindergartner who was having trouble with the numbers 2 and 5. They kept getting them backwards. Then, when they got it right, it was a big deal. Or someone who got 7 out of 10 spelling words right, when they only got 4 last week. Those are the successes. Senior Wishes launches new veterans program. This is by Justin Sullivan. Orchard Park-based nonprofit Senior Wishes is doing more than just granting wishes. It's changing reality. The nonprofit, which celebrated the 12th anniversary of granting its first wish to a local senior on Saturday, March 7th, recently launched its newest program, Lift a Vet, to provide local veterans with lift chairs. Lift chairs are motorized, specialized recliners that assist individuals with limited mobility in safely transitioning between sitting and standing, significantly reducing fall risks and enabling independence. They are crucial for those with arthritis, recovering from surgery, or with weakened muscles, offering a safe, gentle, and controlled way to stand up and sit down. These chairs are often not covered by insurance. The nonprofit, headquartered inside Fox Run of Orchard Park, launched this program in partnership with Williamsville-based Foundation 214. Foundation 214 was founded by entrepreneur and philanthropist Sal Alfaro, an automotive manufacturing company, Mark IV Industries, which started as a supplier of specialized lighting components for instrument panels at an important time because of the use of helicopters used during the Vietnam War at the time. Mark IV Industries sold more than $2 billion in goods and services worldwide and traded on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker IV, or 4, when it was sold in 2000 to a private equity company from the United Kingdom. It was the country's largest private equity deal to date. The foundation, which supports programs supporting the elderly, children, and veterans, gets its name from Alvaro's own military experience, serving as a member of the Marine Attack Squadron 214, VMA 214, more affectionately known as the Black Sheep, during the early 1960s. The famed Black Sheep Squadron of the United States Marine Corps played a pivotal role in early air operations during the Korean War, becoming the first Marine squadron to see combat in 1950. Over 2 full combat tours, the squadron provided near-continued air cover, disrupted enemy supply and communication lines, and inflicted significant damage on ground targets, including several armored units. Following the Korean War, the squadron, the designated VMA-214 Black Sheep Squadron, was reassigned as an attack unit. The shift came as it became the first Marine squadron certified to deliver special weapons. In the decades that followed, the squadron rapidly modernized its aircraft, transitioning from the Gunner F-9F Panther to the McDonnell F-2H Banshee in 1953, then to the North American FJ-4 Fury in 1958, and the upgraded FJ-4B in 1959. By 1962, it had adopted the Douglas A-4 Skyhawk, which remained in service with the squadron for more than 27 years. The unit later transitioned to the AV-8B Harrier II, and beginning in 2021, started a 2-year transition to the Lockheed Martin F-35B Lightning II, continuing its legacy of operating advanced military combat aircraft. Executive Director of Senior Wishes, Wendy Miller Bachman, said the program started after the nonprofit saw an increase in wish requests for lift chairs. The nonprofit's flagship Wish program typically does not cover furniture. Most of these veterans are living in pain and with limited mobility, Bachman said. This allows them to not only stay in their homes, but have a place to socialize in it. In attendance for the program's first chair donation awarded to an Air Force veteran named Patricia was Senior Wishes Development Manager Cindy Reitbach. Since then, the nonprofit has delivered several lift chairs to qualifying local veterans within Senior Wishes coverage area, which includes Erie, Niagara, Orleans, Genesee, and Wyoming counties. I think some people are hesitant to accept change, Reitbach said, because some people don't know how life-changing something can be. Bachman echoed that sentiment, adding that it is not uncommon for veteran recipients to worry that accepting one of Senior Wishes gifts could take away from a fellow veteran who may need it more, a testament to the same humility and selflessness they displayed during their military service. This is the second program exclusively for veterans. The other is the annual Senior Wishes Veterans Hero Box program, where each November, leading up to Veterans Day, the organization delivers personalized boxes filled with patriotic items to local veterans, often wishing them personally to hear their service stories. This last year, the nonprofit delivered a record 190 boxes to local veterans. Unlike the Hero Box program, recipients for Standard Wish requests must fall within certain income guidelines. The nonprofit will host its annual Sips, Suds, and Sweets fundraiser from 5:30 until 8:30, April 16th at Cloverbank Country Club, featuring tastings from local breweries, wineries, and restaurants, along with live music, raffles, and a silent auction to support programs benefiting seniors and veterans. The event presented by M&T Bank and Wilmington Trust will also include the presentation of the Ambassador of the Year Award to LaDonna Painter of Orchard Park, while a virtual auction opens April 10th with items including Buffalo Bills tickets and other experiences. The nonprofit can also accept donations of new or gently used lift chairs. However, Backman said that due to limited space, whether Senior Wishes can accept it will depend on the current need. Like Standard Wishes, the nonprofit accepts requests year-round. For more information on Senior Wishes, including eligibility guidelines, program information, or to donate, visit www.seniorwishes.org. Teen of the Week. This is sponsored by Erie One Bosse's Harlem Road in West Seneca. This week's Teen of the Week is Charlotte Stoss, a senior at West Seneca East Senior High School. Charlotte has been described as an impactful student leader who initiates, organizes, and inspires. Throughout high school, she has been involved in numerous extracurricular activities, volunteer work, and leadership roles, demonstrating her dedication to making a positive impact in her school and community. Charlotte is working toward the seal of biliteracy and the seal of civic readiness. She's taken a few AP classes and is a member of the English, French, Music, and National Honor Society. In her junior year, she became treasurer, where she oversaw finances and managed funds. She has been a very active member of the Student Council for the last 4 years and now serves as the class of 2026 president. Since last year, Charlotte has served as an ex-officio student board member, acting as a bridge between the Board of Education and the students of the West Seneca Central School District. In addition to her academic pursuits, Charlotte has played the flute for 9 years and is a member of the school jazz and pop bands. By her junior year, she joined a marching band and pit orchestra and performed outside of school with the Akron Community Band and the Erie County Fair Band. Since her freshman year, she has been involved in the photography and yearbook clubs and now serves as editor-in-chief. In this role, she oversees the organization, organizes photos, and creates templates for her team. Outside of school, Charlotte serves as the EMS captain for the Fire Explorers program, where she leads EMS-related drills under the guidance of her advisor. She has also been a junior firefighter since her freshman year and strives to serve as a role model in firematic skills. Charlotte has been a participant in the ECMC Healthcare Explorer program, the Roswell Park Healthcare Explorer program, and the Superintendent Cabinet for 2 years. She has volunteered at her church and the VA hospital and has also served as a counselor at an all-girls intervention camp focused on supporting female investors. With everything on her plate, she still found time to work part-time at the Mir Brothers cider mill. After high school, she plans on exploring a career in business administration and continuing to grow her connections. B Newspapers, in conjunction with the sponsor, will showcase exceptional seniors in 9 of our communities as Teen of the Week. The highlighted student will be conscientious, hardworking, and self-motivated individuals who continue to better their communities. These students exceed expectations and are enthusiastic learners. One student will be awarded a scholarship at the end of the 2025-26 school year. Orchard Park announces 2026 concert series lineup. The town of Orchard Park and the Orchard Park Council of the Arts has released the lineup for its 2026 Pavilion Concert Series, featuring a mix of tribute acts, local ensembles, and a multi-act jazz festival throughout July. All concerts are scheduled to begin at 7 p.m., with the exception of the annual Jazz Festival at the Pavilion behind the Orchard Park Middle School at 60 South Lincoln Avenue. The series opens on Sunday, July 5th, with Great Wide Open, a Tom Petty tribute band, followed by performances from the American Legion Band of the Tonawondas on July 7th and the Orchard Park Community Band on July 9th. The following week features singer Tammy Clune on July 12th, J.J. Swing on July 14th, and Gypsy Queen, a Fleetwood Mac and Heart tribute act on July 16th. The highlight of the series, the third annual Orchard Park Jazz Festival, is set for Saturday, July 18th from 4 until 9 p.m. The event will include performances by the Pat LaBarbera and Kirk McDonald Quintet and Mark Vilsinger Chamber Big Band, Alex MacArthur and Trigger, and The Sermon. Concerts resume July 19th with Fully Clothed Gents, a Bare Naked Ladies tribute band, followed by Carnival Kids Steel Orchestra on July 21st, and Nickel City Pimp Choir on July 23rd. The series concludes with Boys of Summer on July 26th. Spindle items. This is by Eric Kepler. Mock trial. The Orchard Park mock trial team came up just short on Saturday's finals of the Western New York mock trial program, falling to Nichols in the championship round. In an evenly matched trial, the contest ended in a tie. As per rules, the judge then had to award 1 point to the team he felt had the slight edge, and that point was awarded to Nichols. Nichols now moves on to regional competition. It was a tough trial with 2 excellent teams, said Gary Janis, moderator for the Orchard Park team. We lost in the closest trial I have ever been a part of. It's disappointing for sure, but I'm very proud of the kids. Art Show. The Western New York Federal Credit Union is again sponsoring the West Seneca Central School District Art Show, on view now at the Community Center. The show features over 300 pieces from students in grades K through 12 and will be on display until May 18th. Stop by and support the educators and emerging artists in the community. Meet the new man. The East Aurora School District 131 Board of Education approved the appointment of Anthony Holub as the next principal of Fred Rogers Magnet Academy during its March 16th Board of Education meeting. Holub will officially begin his role on July 1st, 2026. Holub brings nearly 3 decades of experience in education, with a career rooted in science, mathematics, engineering, education, and innovative leadership. He currently serves as Director of Schools, STEAM, for Oswego Community Unit School District 308, where he has led district-wide initiatives to expand science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics learning opportunities for students and staff. Seeking nominations. The Orchard Park Central School District is accepting nominations for its 2026 Athletic Hall of Fame class, who will be formally inducted during Homecoming 2026 later this year. Nomination forms for athletes, coaches, or support staff are due by April 1st and can be found on it's already passed. So we'll move on. Congrats. The West Seneca varsity cheer team put on an amazing performance at last weekend's AmeriCheer International Championship in Orlando, Florida. West earned first place and achieved the highest overall score in the traditional cheer category. Well done, athletes and coaches. Gift flood. The American Red Cross will conduct a blood drive from 1 until 6 p.m. on Tuesday, April 14th at the Union Fire Company at 1845 Union Road in West Seneca. Individuals must be at least 17 years of age or 16 with a signed parental permission form, weigh at least 110 pounds, have a valid photo ID, and feel healthy and well. Those who donate will receive a $15 e-gift card to a merchant of their choice. To schedule an appointment to donate blood, visit www.redcrossblood.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. Use the sponsor code West Seneca, NY. Honoring two community leaders. This is by Patrick Gallivan. The New York State Senate annually recognizes distinguished individuals from across the state whose contributions have enriched the quality of life in their community. Each senator is permitted to nominate two individuals, one to the Senate's Veterans Hall of Fame, which honors veterans who have distinguished themselves in military and civilian life, and another to the Women of Distinction program, recognizing women whose contributions have had a positive impact on our state. My Veterans Hall of Fame nominee this year is Army Sergeant John Schroeder of Orchard Park. John served in Vietnam as a member of the 2nd Battalion, 16th Infantry Rangers, 1st Infantry Division. He was awarded the National Defense Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, and the Vietnam Cross of Gallantry with Palm. Over the years, John has continued to serve his community. He is past commander of the VFW Post 6247 in Orchard Park and is past president of American Legion Post 567. He is also a member of AMVETS Post 219, Vietnam Veteran Post 77, and numerous other veterans and community organizations. He is the chairman of the Memorial Day Parade and Celebration in Orchard Park and chairman of the Veterans Memorial Park Revitalization Project. I thank John for his many years of service to our country and our community. He and the other honorees from across the state will have their photograph and biography included in a special online exhibit commemorating their contributions. My nominee for the Women of Distinction program is Joanne Hefner of Lakeview, a leader in the healthcare industry and a volunteer with several local organizations. Joanne is the president and chief executive officer for Neighborhood Health Center of Western New York, the region's longest tenured federally qualified health center. Under her leadership, Neighborhood is experiencing significant growth and is the primary care home to more than 34,000 residents, offering adult and pediatric medicine, OBGYN, dentistry, behavioral health, psychiatry, nutrition, podiatry, vision care, and pharmacy services. Her career spans more than 30 years, and over the last 20 years, Joanne has proudly provided care as a nurse practitioner while working her way up through the ranks at Neighborhood Health Center. In addition, she serves in a number of volunteer roles, including on the board for the Community Health Care Association of New York State. the Board of Trustees for D'Youville University, and the Univera Healthcare Regional Advisory Board. I thank Joanne for her years of hard work and dedication to the healthcare industry and the community at large. She will be enshrined alongside the many women whose contributions have had a positive impact on our state, which over the years have included Susan B. Anthony, Lucille Ball, and Harriet Tubman. As you can imagine, there are many worthy candidates for these awards throughout the 60th Senate District, and the decision is never easy. However, being able to recognize individuals who make our community a better place is truly one of the highlights of my time in the Senate. And before we move to our next paper, we'd like to tell you you're listening to Around Our Area on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And we move to the Sun, and this is the Friday, March 27th, 2026 edition. Go to our first article. Liberatory Management Group presents concept plan to place 4-story mixed-use building at the former Gray Miller's Lane site. This is by Chris Graham. A preliminary plan has been given sense of what might be heading to the former Bray Miller Lanes property at 39 Buffalo Street in the village of Hamburg. Carmina Wood Design, representing the owner of the parcel, Liberatory Management Group, presented a preliminary plan to village officials to construct a 7,000 square foot, 4-story mixed-use building on the property. The building would have 6 apartments each on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floors, and then 3 apartments and an undefined commercial space on the 1st floor. The space is in prime area for the village, next to the Palace Theater, across the street from the revamped community hub, and in a downtown section of the municipality with a plethora of shops and restaurants. I think those apartments will rent very quickly, said Village Mayor Thomas Tallman. It increases the density in the area. I think it's a great spot for apartments. Some of the commercial uses on the 1st floor could be retail, professional offices, or a restaurant. Tallman said with the amount of restaurants in the area, he wouldn't mind seeing retail go into the spot, but stressed the developer is still in the early stages of the plan. This is the first plan brought forth for the property since Liberatory Management Group purchased the parcel in May of 2023 from Howard Braymiller. The lot has been vacant since November of 2022, when the building that housed Braymiller's Lanes for 80 years was demolished following a significant winter storm. Tallman previously described no building being present at that location as the missing front tooth in the fabric of Buffalo Street. Now with the concept plan in hand, Tallman is thrilled that there's a movement on the development. We're pleased to see that a concept plan has been developed, Tallman said. We look forward to fleshing out the rest of it, but it looks to be a great use for the property. No approvals have been given yet by village officials for the plan, as this would still be subject to review by the Village of Hamburg Planning Commission, Village of Hamburg Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Architectural Review Committee. I'm going to say with the review process, there very well might be some variances they'll need in their final plans, said Village Administrator Jason Koza. Liberatory Management Group could start going through the village review process by the fall, with a potential plan of construction by the spring of 2027. Frontier officials outlined projected $116.3 million budget for 2026 and 27. Frontier Central School District officials have now returned to the Board of Education with a balanced budget, showing a spending plan of $116 $1.3 million for the 2026-27 school year. The spending plan is an increase on last year's district budget of $111.9 million. Dr. Christopher Thuman, Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations for the district, said the budget has been going up $4.5 million to $5 million in expenditures for the last 4 years. For the 2026-27 budget, which is still in development, the $116.3 million would include $56.4 million in salaries, $28.3 million in benefits, over $10 million in BOCES costs, $10.1 million in debt service, and $11.2 million in equipment, supplies, and contractual. Superintendent Christopher Switek said everything is pretty flat in regard to staffing, saying the district will have some reduction, with most, if not all, of those coming through retirements. The budget is expected to see $51.1 million in state aid. District leaders are still hoping for a bump in foundation aid. Currently, the district is only at a 1% increase in foundation aid. The number is currently slated at $33.6 million, up from $3.3 million last year. Normally, the district sees a 2% to 2.5% increase in foundation aid. There is hope that we'll see that go to 2% or possibly over 2% in April when the governor's budget is finalized and comes out, Thurman said. The projected tax levy is 3.56%, which is projected to bring a little over $51 million in revenue. Currently, the district is projected to use $750,000 from fund balance and over $3.3 million from 3 reserve accounts to balance the budget. But as the district continues to wait for concrete numbers from the state, Switek said those numbers can change. Over the course of the next 30 to 35 days, that's where the board will see the most movement in regard to our appropriated fund balance going up if we get additional foundation aid from the state, Switek said. The more revenues we bring up, the less reserve that we either have to use or commit to balance the budget. Those 4 lines are where you're going to see the most movement over the next 30 days. The next meeting on the budget will be held on Tuesday, April 21st. It's expected the board will adopt the budget at that meeting. The public hearing on the budget will be held during the board's meeting on Tuesday, May 5th. The $116.3 million budget will be Proposition 1 for the May election ballot. Proposition 2 will be the modification of the maximum estimated cost for the 2021 Safety Operations, Academic, and Renovation Capital Project. The district is asking for voters to increase the maximum allowable amount spent on the project. When voters approved the original capital project in 2021, the cost was $70.1 million. Switek said escalating costs and inflation have led to asking voters to increase the capital project by allowing the district to access $5,256,364 from its Capital Improvement Reserve Fund, created in 2023 to specifically support the capital project. We knew 3 years ago, due to escalation, we would tap out our expenditures on the SOAR project, and we would need somewhere between $3 million and $5 million to cover that final phase, Switek said. Thurman stressed that the money in the fund was set aside to make sure everything that district leaders promised voters would be completed in the project 7 years ago gets finished. He added There is no new money or tax impact, just moving money from the fund to increase the maximum allowable amount spent on the project. If voters were to vote down the proposition, the district would not be able to put reserve into the project or to receive building aid back from the state. Proposition 3 will be for the purchase of 3 new buses, while also upgrading the entire fleet with new GPS-based tablets and extended stop arms to increase traffic safety and efficiency. This total cost would not exceed $977,646. Proposition 4 is looking for voter approval to downsize the Board of Education. This would move the board from 7 members to 5. Currently, the board is operating with 5 members after the loss of 2 board members at the end of 2025. Former trustee James Voto left his seat to move closer to family in Ohio. The other vacancy occurred when former trustee David Cicerelli passed away from cancer-related health issues. Having 2 ongoing capital projects and trying to keep the continuity and consistency of the board, members agreed moving down to 5 would be the best course of action. The district will still have 3 seats up for grabs in the May election, which is the 5th proposition. Board President Dr. Mary Ann Costello's seat, which would carry a 4-year term, along with the remainder of Ciccarelli's term, which would be 2 years, and the final year of voters' term. Board candidate packets are available now from the district with a petition deadline at 5 p.m. Monday, April 20th. The candidates are made aware that the downsizing proposition is on the ballot, and if it receives voter approval, only one individual, the highest vote getter, would be elected to the board. Voters will cast a ballot on the budget and the other propositions from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. Tuesday, May 19th at the Christopher J. Switek Falcon Center at 4540 Southwestern Boulevard. Village of Hamburg adopts budget with 3.98% tax increase. This is by Chris Graham. The Village of Hamburg has adopted a budget for the 2026-27 fiscal year. One that will feature a 3.98% tax increase, slightly higher than last year's 3.88% increase. The tax increase will see a tax rate of $24.78 per thousand of assessed valuation for 2026 and 27. For a village home with an assessed value of $90,000, $180,000 full market value, the estimated property tax owed would be $2,230.20, which is an increase of $85.50 per year, or $7.13 per month. The spending plan of $13.5 million, adopted on March 16th, does exceed the 2% New York State tax cap. The tax levy is $8,484,543, an increase of $344,031, or 4.23% from the current year. For this budget season, the village battled rising costs for insurance and utilities. Within the spending plan is a budgeted increase of 15% for medical insurance and 10% for liability and workers' compensation. The municipality is seeing an increase of $196,397 in debt, $162,594 in insurance, $145,514 in retirement, and $59,239 in utilities. For debt, the village is making a $365,628 debt payment for 2026 and 27 on the ongoing water tower project. The soon-to-be-constructed 180-foot water tower, located on a plot behind Hamburg Middle School, near the Hamburg Central School District's maintenance building, is an over $10 billion capital project. The tower, which will hold 1.25 million gallons of water and replace the municipality's 2 existing towers, is expected to be operational by fall. The project is currently 50% complete. Village Administrator Jason Koza had previously said that the municipality's debt picture will improve post the 2026-27 fiscal year. The adopted budget also includes an additional $250,000 going to a cold storage building on the village's Department of Public Works campus. The building will replace an existing building and will store plow trucks and other DPW equipment. Planning Board gets early look at planned child care center for Jeffrey Boulevard. This is by Chris Graham. An applicant is looking to turn an existing building in an industrial park at 4090 Jeffrey Boulevard into a child care center. The preliminary plan is for the center to occupy 66 children, ages 6 weeks and up. The plan shows a preschool wing and an infant-toddler wing, with 6 total classrooms. The center will have 12 staff members, 6 teachers, and 6 teaching assistants. Lisa Akinforo, the applicant, who would be licensed under the Office of Child and Family Services, told the Town of Hamburg Planning Board that the site will have a separate space for parking for pickup and drop-off. There's staggered pickup and drop-off times, typically between 7:45 to 8:45 a.m. for drop-off, and then pickup is usually around 4 to 5 p.m. Akinfora said, typically 5 to 7 minutes is the standard in and out check-in with the teacher, and then get back into the car. There will also be an entrance and exit on the site to help with traffic flow. I think having that separate entrance and exit will be advantageous for your pickup and drop-off and allow for traffic flow, said board member Caitlin Shimaro. Shimaro said she would be in favor of a pickup and drop-off option that comes around the corner, avoiding the truck traffic base. Akinforo said the majority of the industrial occupancy is on the opposite side of the parking lot. Just to try and pull traffic away from that more industrial side, Shimura said. There would be one fenced-in playground area on the site, with separate space for the preschool children and infants and toddlers. The playground would be used during the business hours of 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. I think this is exciting, having had young children and being able to provide additional opportunities for childcare and having to be close to a village is a great idea, Shimura said. There is no set date for Akinforo to return in front of the planning board. Because this interaction with the board was to receive sketch plan direction, the next site plan is expected to align more with the standards set out to receive a special use permit from the town, which is needed to operate the child care facility. Village of Hamburg returns mayor, 2 trustees, village justice after uncontested election race. Village of Hamburg Mayor Thomas Tallman, Trustee Holly Park, Trustee Jeff Davis, and Village Justice Kristen Klein Wheaton all are returning to their posts following uncontested village races on March 18th. Tallman, elected for another 4-year term as mayor, attained 123 votes. He was first elected mayor back in 2022. As a whole, Tallman has served on the Hamburg Village Board since 1998. Park, elected to her second 4-year term on the board, garnered 102 votes. She joined the board in 2022. Davis was also elected to his second 4-year term on the board, gained 107 votes. He also joined the board in 2022. And Klein Wheaton, who was appointed village justice earlier this year, attained 108 votes. She will now serve a 4-year term. proposed contractor shop warehouse on Lakeshore Road continues to receive scrutiny from residents and the planning board. This is by Chris Graham. For months, residents of Nelson Avenue have been raising concerns about a proposed plan to construct 6 shop warehouse buildings on the 7.46-acre parcel on Lakeshore Road in the Woodlawn neighborhood. These concerns have included the clear cutting of trees, runoff into Rush Creek, the condition of the property, and visibility. Sean Hopkins, an attorney for the applicant, said that on February 23rd, after the last time the project was discussed in front of the Town of Hamburg Planning Board on February 18th, adjustments were made to the site plan. The project now includes 6 shop warehouse buildings instead of 8, with none of the buildings within 100 feet of Rush Creek. The buildings are expected to house equipment, trucks, and materials for landscapers, electricians, plumbers, framing contractors, and concrete contractors, according to the applicant, Brandon Santo. As far as other adjustments to the plan, Hopkins noted that the concept fire services was added to the plan to show how the project would connect to the existing water supply and provide fire protection for the project. There will also be 2 fire hydrants on the site. Santo will live on another parcel adjacent to where the project will be. There is a proposed 30-foot wide access easement to the project site for emergency access. There will also be a right-of-way from Nelson Avenue to the site. Berms have also been extended along the full length of Rush Creek, which has been a request from residents and planning board members. The 10-foot chain link fence, which is on another parcel owned by the applicant, has been shifted to be 10 feet away from the residential property of the adjoining neighborhood. Hopkins said this was done to allow for landscaping on the site of the residential neighborhood. I do appreciate it that you did a reduction in the square footage. I do appreciate that you went through the creek and added the buffering. I do appreciate that you listened to the concerns of the board and took a lot of it, but there's still some major concerns, said Cynthia Granakin, chair of the planning board. And those major concerns were discussed by residents in the Nelson Avenue area during a March 4th public hearing, where they stated their dissatisfaction with the project. The community also garnered 225 signatures from mostly Woodlawn residents opposing the project. With Mr. Santos' buildings and parking lots being so close to our properties, how does he plan on mitigating noise and air pollution, as well as land vibration from the traffic and potential dumping of materials on the property from the plan? Said resident Rachel Phillips. Just with the trees being cut down, we felt the vibrations and the noise. It was loud. Residents Beth Killigori said there have been erosion in that area of Rush Creek, adding that there shouldn't be outdoor storage or parking, which is planned for the site within the 100-foot buffer. She also added that more landscaping is needed to protect the neighborhoods from seeing the proposed project. Paul Cellist, a resident of Nelson Avenue, asked if the project could be reduced in size and have more landscaping added, similar to a recent warehouse project that was approved by the board on Jeffrey Boulevard. Granakin has spoken for months about how she'd like to see the project reduce its footprint and add more landscaping. We believe a site plan of this mass and the location negatively impacts the integrity and characteristics of our neighborhood, said resident Angela Andolino. Further proceedings of the current site plan would ruin the character and family atmosphere that is established here for over nearly a century. Hopkins confirmed that there are no wetlands on the site, according to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and the Army Corps of Engineers. Before we proceeded with this project, Brandon did a lot of due diligence to make sure there's no wetlands on the site, Hopkins said. There were some residents, along with Leona Rockwood, a representative of the Town of Hamburg Conservation Advisory Board, who argued that there were town maps that showed wetlands on the property. There were a number of comments about the clear cutting of trees on the property. Granagan stressed that the applicant did not cut down any trees without a permit, according to records from the code enforcement officer. There were a number of comments about the clear cutting of trees. Rockwood stresses that the board should have an environmental impact study on the project, a move that would support by several residents. She said the site had several potential impacts, including consistency with community character, aesthetic resources, erosion of land, water quality, and flooding. The board did not speak specifically about having an environmental impact study on the project, rather telling the applicant that they'd like to see more landscaping be added to the project to shield the residents, see a reduction in the size of the project, similar to the Jeffrey Boulevard warehouse project, and the possible removal of the outdoor storage. With the public hearing now closed, the project is set to come back for possible site plan approval at the board's meeting on Wednesday, April 1st. You've been listening to Around Our Area, a weekly look at community newspapers from around Western New York. Your reader for this hour has been Sally Herzog. Thank you so much for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the Ampol Eagle. At 4 o'clock, we have the Grand Island Niagara County Tribune Sentinel. And following that, at 5 o'clock, we have the Lockport Union Sun and Journal. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which